Resident Evil 7 is probably one of the most well received horror games in recent years, bringing a franchise like Resident Evil back to its horror roots and creating a new way that we could explore this universe. The Baker Estate has now placed itself up there with the likes of the Spencer Mansion and of course Raccoon City Police Department. But for Resident Evil to find its footing again and revitalise itself and somehow introduce a new enemy and threat for audiences to fear, that surely couldn't have been an easy task. Please join me as we take an adventure down into the dark basement of the Baker Estate and have a look at what made the Baker Estate and Resident Evil 7 so special on its own. Capcom had a task on their hands, creating a new horror-focused Resident Evil series from a series that had just come from suplexing, punching rocks and exploding highways, to an instant slow-paced atmospheric game where the slightest creak of a floorboard could make your spine shiver. Well, to do that they had to take it back to your comfort zone, home, and most importantly in this case, the kitchen. In 2015 during E3, Capcom was showing off Sony's new VR headset and the hardware and what it's capable of, with a simple and short experience just known as Kitchen. In this demo you awake as a man named Clancy, and you appear to have been captured by someone, or at least something. In trying to escape, you and whoever your fellow captive is are both toyed with and of course killed. But what did this mean? Why did Capcom have to create something like this? What could it actually mean for any future titles? Most people took it with a grain of salt, meaning it meant nothing. It was nothing more than just a tech demo, right? With no meaning or relevancy to any up and coming Capcom title. Though it was confirmed that Beginning Hour DLC was in development way before PT was ever released, it is no coincidence that these two share a lot of similarities. So when PT disappeared off the market and people were left with nothing to experience, Capcom was able to come in and give people what they wanted, a Resident Evil 7 demo, in the same vein of PT, and people were expecting at least a very similar experience. But what they got was something very, very different. The Beginning Hour DLC and Resident Evil 7 both show us as gamers and of course the industry how a game series could build itself an intense atmosphere and an expectation that only a few could understand. For many people, waking up on the floor as Clancy in a decrepit house was unusual, but at the same time exciting for a new Resident Evil experience for fans to enjoy. But for the many few who was able to experience Kitchen, knew that there was more to this intro than maybe just being in this house on your own solving puzzles. Capcom brilliantly only show you a hint and even a small snippet of the Kitchen demo at the start of the Beginning Hour, to remind the fans who were able to experience Kitchen that it is indeed connected, therefore creating some sort of fear and knowing that there may be something within this house. With very little knowledge that Kitchen was an up and coming Resident Evil, it didn't exactly draw the mainstream media that you would expect from a AAA title. But with that niche and little understanding came a genius way on how to market your future horror game. Capcom had to separate the old expectations of Resident Evil and turn it entirely into a new beast, by not explaining what Kitchen was to many people and only letting word of mouth get around to tell the tale of what actually happened. They crafted themselves a little mythos and even an urban legend aesthetic that comes with this little house and even kitchen. Throughout the demo we play as Clancy, and once again we're seeing if we're able to escape this hellhole very much like Kitchen. Within the demo there is a VHS tape showing the events what happened prior to Kitchen, and you was able to understand who Peter was, Clancy is, and of course who Andre was. We learn that these are paranormal investigators looking into the urban legend of the Baker family. Sounds familiar, right? We see them investigating the very same house that we are standing in. Also, we get to see them get captured and even one murdered, and what appears to be someone inhabiting the halls of this decrepit little house, leaving many questions and once again becoming a mystery of exactly what is going on. Resident Evil 7 chose to market itself around an urban legend, talking about the Baker family and what happened to them, not exactly making the story clear and even giving strange subtle hints that will never make sense. So with that idea and framework in mind, the beginning hour did something special. It kept players in the dark with practically everything. Where do doors lead? What does the creepy ghost girl in the tapes symbolise? What does this dummy finger do? And of course, what does any of this have to do with Resident Evil that we know? Over a period of 7 months, fans were coming together, was discussing and creating theories about what Resident Evil 7 was even about, and even going through the demo several times with a fine comb to find any secrets they could, and of course find the secrets that they did, and try and find an explanation to what they could mean. The demo received 2 major updates, the first update being the Twilight update in September 2016, changing the tone of the house slightly, with changes to certain pictures, but most importantly, the locked door at the end of the hall was now covered in some sort of mould, but still very locked of course, but there was also a subtle sound that could be heard behind it. What did this sound mean, and what did that phone call mean when it said all doors can be unlocked eventually?
What?
But some doors must remain closed. For now.
Fans were sure there was a way to unlock it, and of course they wouldn't find this out until the final update, which was the Midnight update in December 2016. And this made the demo an entirely different beast. That back door was finally open, and of course you can't forget that creature that lurks in the basement. And I can imagine you're probably thinking that I'm leaving out a very important part that this demo leaves you with, but don't worry, Jack's coming to get ya. The demo did have several endings by its final update, but the ending that most people will finally finish with is of course Jack giving you a warm welcome to the family. But no matter how many secrets you find or even dummy fingers that you use to point at pictures, even by the end of this demo you are left with many questions, just as many questions as the fans were when they first played the kitchen demo. What happened to Clancy? What was happening inside the house? Once again, what was the girl in the tape all about? What happened to the body of Peter, and what happened to Andre in the tape itself? There were so many questions and unanswered rumours and even theories that fans just wanted to know immediately, and they didn't get their answer until January 2017 when Resident Evil 7 was released to the world. We see a white van and what appears to be camera equipment, and of course this belongs to the Sewer Gators, the very same investigators that Capcom have been using for the main marketing. This alone tells anyone who experienced Kitchen and anyone who was able to play Beginning Hour to its fullest, this explained perfectly the time zone that this game sets place in. It sets place after the events of those demos and experiences. And that means we could possibly get the answers we've always wanted, and we can finally work out what happened to Clancy. As you make your way through the Baker estate, you drop to a lower ledge and you see it there. Exactly the same as you remember it from the VHS in the demo. It's the house in which the demo is actually set in, and of course the house in which Kitchen also takes place as well. And of course all those months and even that time you experienced the demo all comes flooding back to you instantly. The woman from Kitchen, Jack Baker from the end of the demo, Andre's death, Peter's decapitation, the monster in the basement. These memories all come clashing back at once, and even the discussion and theories go running through your head. You're about to get the answers you always wanted. You're about to set foot in the place that you once feared, and even a place you once scoured with a fine comb. There was no way for anyone to really know how this game was going to link to every other Resident Evil, but the only way we knew how to do that was to step forward and think about all the stories and theories that fans threw together, almost like it was just a myth. And just like that, Resident Evil 7 created itself a new identity. By using the marketing as an extension of the storytelling and mystery, we were able to be so entranced, frightened and of course confused by a universe we so confidently thought we once knew. So when you step foot into the guest house and it goes to black, you know exactly what creatures could lurk in the dark, and you know exactly what may have happened or even may not have happened within these walls. And with those memories and expectations, you're never sure what's actually going to happen from this point on going forward. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've been wanting to talk about the Resident Evil 7 demo for a very long time, so I'm actually glad I'm able to jump into it and explain how I feel that it works as a marketing technique. If you enjoyed Resident Evil 7, please let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this video, of course, please let me know down below as well. Please leave a like and of course subscribe for more content like this every week. I also now have a Patreon, so please feel free to join me with that. I also want to say thank you to the people who are on my Patreon at the moment, Your Player 2, Not Another Game Collector, and of course James Roderick. Thank you all so much, I love you, and of course I'll see you at the next checkpoint. Bye bye.